Hey, good evening. Hope you can see me pretty well. Okay. Hello, my name is Erin, and welcome back to my channel. Happy Monday. Hope everybody's had a happy and safe Monday. I will be doing this video through Aspen University under the direction of Miss Gina Olig. Hope I pronounced your name correctly, Professor. This video that we're going to be discussing is the importance of performance-based assessment. Before this class, really wasn't truly familiar with what performance-based assessment was, or morally the importance behind it. As future educators, if any of you out there are currently in the education field, or many like myself who's had a little bit of education here and there, this kind of assessment really sets the standard for a lot of things. One thing that we were required to do for this video was to define the purpose essentially of performance-based assessment. What is it? You know, it's a big mouthful of what. And one definition that I found pretty interesting, it comes from Patricia Hillard from the George Lucas Education Foundation. She states that the definition of performance-based assessments varies greatly depending upon author, publication, and intended audience. But in general, a performance-based assessment measures students' ability to apply the skills and knowledge learned from a unit or units of study. So the first thing that I thought about after reading this definition a couple of times and trying to get my thoughts together was being back in school and learning those different units, especially in science class. Let's just say, for an example, the solar system. You know, the solar system is fun, and, you know, you start with the planets, and then, you know, towards the end, the big project would be, you know, creating your own solar system out of different material. And, you know, some would do a poster board, some would do a shoebox. The sky's the limit. But before we get to the grand finale of creating our own solar system, how do we start? How do we go from, you know, the sun to Jupiter to Saturn, you know, in creating this? Well, one thing that we can do with the solar system or any other kind of unit that we're wanting to teach is to assess our students. And assessments come in a variety of ways. You have pop quizzes. Many like myself who used to hate pop quizzes, you know, you get a quiz the next day to kind of discuss what you went over the day before. And, you know, that was just a pretty quick way for the teacher to understand if their students understood what was going on, or, you know, maybe I need to go back and teach that lesson again. One of my first teaching jobs was at a local daycare last summer. And this particular daycare, we had a pretty thick packet of assessments that we did. And I had an awesome director who would come in and help me with the lessons with the students. Well, she would mainly be with my other kids, and I could pull a child to do assessments. And you know, for a 2- and 3-year-old classroom, we really are starting with the beginning, the basics: colors, numbers, shapes, you know, identifying their name, and just, you know, very simple things that, you know, build to big things. So when we talk about performance-based assessments, and let's just say, for an example, we're wanting to focus on colors. Okay, you know, you could take, I know these colors are kind of the same, so I would definitely try to have, you know, colors that are definitely different. But, you know, taking two different pieces of color and having the student to match the blue paper with the blue paper, or match the purple paper with the purple paper. That's a simple assessment right there. So, as I mentioned before, they come in so many different ways. Our book has a pretty good definition of what the role of a teacher is in performance-based assessment. And I'd like to share it with you. Wordham and Hardin report that the teacher has the primary role in selecting the type of performance assessments to be used and how they will be used. Because teachers evaluate and use the assessment information, they also have the responsibility to decide which strategies will be most effective for their purposes. So, okay, let's just say, for an example, that our student, Johnny, may be struggling with color identification. And you've noticed a couple of times that, maybe he's struggling with the color blue and maybe the color red. One thing that you want to take into consideration as a teacher is incorporating the child's tribe outside of your classroom. And that includes parents, maybe a mentor or a close family friend. Nowadays, children have so many different ways of parents. It's not just sometimes it could be two parents or one parent or whatever, but whatever that child's tribe consists of, it's your responsibility to, include them in the child's performance-based assessment. And there are three things that I thought of to help with that. The first is to identify there's a problem. Nobody wants to hear that there's something wrong with their child, but color recognition is the foundation for many things in life that we're going to have to be able to do. So once we identify that there's a problem, the next thing we can do is gain some input from the parents. We may in the beginning of the year do some kind of preference assessment, but as a child grows and develops, their interests change as well. So I know many people talk about how their child is one person in a classroom and then they're completely different at home. Well, what do they like at home? Let's just say, for an example, that Johnny really likes to bake. Okay, so once we've identified that there's a problem with Johnny's, identifying colors, we've taken the parents' input. The next thing we need to do is increase our knowledge as the teacher, and we need to increase the parents' knowledge for home assessments. So the pretty cool thing about assessments is there's no one way to do an assessment. There's YouTube, there's forums, there's workshops, there's so much literature out there, and then input from seasoned teachers or even teachers from different, parts of the world that you're getting different information on how to assess these children and create these pretty awesome lesson plans. So let's just say, for an example, that with Johnny really liking baking, you can present to Johnny's parents, hey, why don't you guys try maybe baking cookies this weekend and having him to identify and pass you the blue spoon, to help put the cookies on the cookie sheet, or have him to grab the milk with the blue top on in the refrigerator to help you make the cookies, or whatever else is available. So incorporating these things both at home in the classroom can really kind of help Johnny to absorb that. When we talk about the advantages or the benefits of performance-based assessment, Barlow and Cook, they wrote an article in the spring of 2016, and they mentioned that the new federal law permits several states to develop assessment systems that allow for performance-based assessments in lieu of standardized testing. And that really stuck out to me because we all know that there's plenty of people out there that aren't good at testing with standardized testing, but that doesn't mean that they aren't capable of doing the job. And one day down the road, Johnny is going to be able to identify the blue tie that he's going to wear on an interview for a possible bakery that he may want to purchase or may want to work in. So creating various ways for Johnny to understand and grasp what the color blue or other colors that he may be struggling with will really benefit him in the long run, him and any other child out there. I hope this was very beneficial, and I hope everybody has a good night. Take care. Bye-bye.